Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 0. I'm Justin Titino for movies.
I'm Mark Tomlin for toys.
Nicholas Bergendo for games.
I'm Jonathan Morissette for comic books.
And we are
All the Nerds.
All the Nerds.
So we're just going to start off this first video as sort of an introduction to who we are and what we do and how we got to be where we are and why we do this. We're going to start in alphabetic order based on our topics, the first of which is comic books, and Jonathan is our resident expert for that.
Thank you, Justin.
You're welcome.
So my story began, I think, was in the 90s when, a lot of kids were watching the Spider-Man TV shows and the X-Men TV shows and all this, and one of my neighbor got a trade paperback. At first I was like, Spider-Man does not exist in books. For me, it was all TV shows, right? So, and he had that, and just on his bed, I was like, what is this? And like, oh, that's the main thing. And after I started reading it, I went to, I think what was it? It was Spider-Man versus Venom. And, I didn't know there was so many at first. So I just went to my the card store around the corner of my place. And because I come from a small town, so there was not much comics around. So the card store was the main place for anything collectible.
Small town where?
Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Yeah. So it was, what was it, Coin la carte sportive, like a French place.
Which is weird because
In
you have
Ottawa?
a French accent. You're from Ottawa, which is and that's weird to me.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And he had one bin of a lot of trades. But I didn't know, so I was like, I'll go with something more comfortable, and I'll get the same as his. And I read the whole thing, and I think it was a reprint. I think it got released in 1990, and it was a reprint of a McFarlane story of Origin of Venom. That was amazing because back in the 90s, that TV show was crazy, and
Oh yeah.
I remember that. It was like the whole childhood. Everything stemmed from that TV show.
Did you know with the graphic novel that it came out individually as books and it was a compilation of all
No,
of
for me,
them?
it was just a thicker one.
Okay.
So I
But you knew about the comic books and
You
all
knew
that
about
before.
individual issues and stuff.
No.
No?
Okay.
For me, it was my basic first introduction was that thick book, and so
Well, the start.
yeah. So Rippin' McFarlane with Origin of Venom is a 300 to 315 or something, and it was really cool. But then, at the same time as Spider-Man, there was also the X-Men TV show, and the X-Men.
Awesome.
That was a great show.
Yeah,
But I still thought it was very childish and simple, the good guys. So that led me to X-Force, and that's where there's it's more of a PG-13 back then. Now it's very violent.
But that's when you started reading for real, reading comics.
X-Force was big with cable and everything, and that was amazing. And I wanted something I think my generation was also very anti-hero approach, and that was the cool thing. And then Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
I was going to say,
Yeah, exactly.
Wait,
Iron Man, Spider-Man, X-Men. I'm like, wait
Yeah.
a minute. You're Iron Man.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you get into Iron Man?
Yeah.
Well, I as a kid would a loner. Really, I always stayed in my room. So video games, electronics, computers. I fix computers all the time. So Iron Man told me introduced me to the persona of technological genius, and I really felt connected to it. And then that's where the crazy stuff happened.
And that's that's after reading a bunch of
Gotta-
Iron Man, that's how you identified him as your favorite character.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't see myself as an asshole, but I do see myself as a guy trying to perform and bring new technology into the world, and it got out of control. And
You built the whole Iron Man suit in your closet. You have the Hall of Armor there.
I'm actually working on it.
Now, do you like him just as much as back in the days?
I think I like him more, and I think maybe we could keep it for another episode because there's so much to talk about. But yeah, there's recently the new writers from back in literally 2008. Matt Fraction series was
He's a good writer.
the best
Okay.
series.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's really, and that's my story about comic books. Really, how I started, and after that, I discovered a bit further from the card store there was a comic book store, and then
That's when you got into everything.
yeah, the weekly issues, and then like spreading my interest a bit in everything.
Mhm.
But Iron Man still stayed the centerpiece.
Yeah.
Of everything.
Yeah.
What about you?
As far as far as comics go, I've always enjoyed. I like heroes. Like I could give you the top 5 favorite heroes that I have, but I find as much as heroes are inspirational, I always found villains more interesting. And one of my favorite villains, my favorite villain of all time, is and always has been the Joker. So if I were to just, it's hard to choose because I have a lot of. I say everything's my favorite thing, whatever it is. I have that kind of a problem, in that I'm an easy critic. But if I were to just like pinpoint comic-wise something that I choose as a favorite, it's something Joker related, and a lot of people say it's Batman: The Killing Joke by Alan Moore and Brian Bolland. If I'm pronouncing that right, don't even.
Alan Moore's really dark.
Yeah.
From what he's done, like the Saga of the Swamp Thing.
Mhm.
He's a freaking wizard.
FIFA Vendetta.
he's literally a wizard. But it's not because of Alan Moore. It's not because of the art. It's the character, in that he's always had sort of a mysterious background, and this sort of sheds light onto an origin, even though it's not necessarily the real origin. It's kind of just a glimpse into who this character, the Joker, might be, because he is supposed to be the entity. Well, obviously, written purple. Anyway, he's supposed to be like the entity of chaos and anarchy, and to Batman's law and order, which I've always found fascinating because we don't know where he comes from or who he is. So, for the moment, Batman Killing Joke would be my favorite comic.
Have you read that story? I think it was a one shot. Like I think it was the villain month, where there was a Joker issue, and I didn't read the Joker one, but all the other ones were talking about the villain's origin.
Yeah.
What was the
Joker one?
Yeah.
It wasn't an origin. It was a bit of a Joker origin story, shedding some light on his childhood, in that he lived with a very abusive aunt, and she would scrub his face with like bristles and bleach to make him shiny, as she called it. So that like screwed him up a bit. Again, it doesn't. Yeah. Well, no.
To say the least.
But
It's strong, man.
But it doesn't say if it's like his real origin, because as he says in Killing Joke, if I have a beginning or an origin or something along the lines of that, I'd rather it be multiple choice. So maybe he doesn't know what his origin is either. But it says that, and then the rest of the comic is about, or the issue rather, is about him and this monkey that he steals from the zoo, or a gorilla, baby gorilla, and he like trains it to be basically his sidekick, and it's like a killer. It's a hired killer. It's a pretty good issue.
The monkey.
It's about a monkey. Yeah, it's about
the monkey becomes a killer
because Joker trains the monkey into killing people. Yeah. So that's the Joker issue from Forever Evil. Nice. That's my take.
I don't really have much of a story when it comes to comic books. Comic books are really not my thing. I've tried, but really not my thing. But however, the one that I did enjoy was it's the Ninja Turtles ongoing series.
The current one.
The current one, yeah.
Wow.
It started back in August of 2011, and it's still running quite strong.
Prices are going crazy for latest issues since, you guys have to read it, no spoilers. But
the origin story is a little weird though, but besides that, it's pretty dead on with all the other Ninja Turtle subjects that are out there.
Yeah.
They changed the artists along the way. I think they had 2 or 3 artists.
Yeah.
At some various ways. Some were, I think the definition even like of the picture was going very like good, weird, too sharp.
It went to really dark and it was originally like dark and gritty, like the original black and white Ninja Turtles.
Those were
now it's more geared towards the Nickelodeon show.
Yeah.
So they look a little cartoony.
Yeah.
But with that hint of dark and grime from the first issues. I'm not too keen on the art. The story is still really good.
If you read the recent Mute Animal, there's a the way the pencil is drawn is very a rough draw, and I like it the way they make Slash.
Okay,
it's really cool. One of my favorite in the.
How about you, Nick?
How about me? Actually, right now I'm really into comics, but it always just started a few years back. I was always aware of what a comic book in like the industry was, but not more, you know. And then I found out that comic book store near my house, and I said, "Hey, why not?"
Mm-hmm.
Then I fell in love with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing Spider-Man. I just like John. I was following the animated TV series.
Yeah, I think we all were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Religiously.
Yeah.
exactly.
Do you guys have a date on where it started?
What do you mean?
Around the television series of Amazing Spider-Man.
Do we know when it started?
Yeah, I think
It's in the 90s, so basically
Well, it was.
we're
Well, it's
Yeah,
considered the
I think it was
90s.
like 94
Yeah.
or something.
94. Okay, and before that, was there like a period where there was no Spider-Man? Because I know there was the 60s Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
That one.
I watched
friendly
that.
neighborhood.
neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
think
you got
maybe a
wasn't
decade.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends after that?
Yes.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Ice. I think it was Iceman.
Iceman and Fire
Something-
Fire something.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't watch that, but
Terrible.
Yeah.
But you were saying the series in general, or you had a specific story that you read?
Not a specific. I've always liked Spider-Man. For
Yeah.
me, it's one of the greatest. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
Same.
The first storyline I've ever read was Secret Wars,
Oh.
which Spider-Man is, I would say, one of the main
Yeah.
character, along with Doom, Beyond, or whatever.
And what's cool about that issue, that the Secret War, is the shift into the character, because he was always like the
Exactly.
friendly neighborhood, and then they brought the dark part.
Black
of it.
suit.
Yeah, the black suit,
Secret Wars
Where
number
they
8.
number 8. Mhm.
and it brings like a
Black
darker look into him, and like it brings out not the villain, but like the anti-hero into him.
Mhm.
And well, since Spider-Man is such an amazing like character and he's so strong,
No
and
pun intended.
he repels like the thing. He does not accept to be a bad guy like that.
Mhm.
Not like Spider-Man 3, which
Yeah.
never happened.
Yeah, it never happened. It's really not history.
Yeah. Pretty
It's the best one. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
I know, they portrayed Venom like perfectly.
There was good things about the movie. Kind of a lot.
I think the only thing to me that was good in the movie was Sandman's outfit, because it was like
Well,
Oh, it was perfect, right?
It was perfect. They took it right out of the
everything
comic book
related to
cartoon.
Sandman, like in the movie, was good. The outfit, the powers, how it was done, and that's basically it.
So yeah, Secret Wars. So that was like
Yeah.
your and
and
Spider-Man was
then,
your.
and from now on, it's like I switched because it was just only a few years back I really started, and then I started with Spider-Man Brand New Day,
Mhm.
which was technically a reboot, kind of ish.
Kind of.
Yeah, but since then it's like bi-weekly or monthly. I
Mhm.
read everything.
So that about covers it for comics, which is, as we said, is John's subject. We're gonna move on to movies now, which is my subject. Now, since I was a kid, I've always been fascinated with storytelling and film, and I think the reason for that because the first movie I can remember watching is 1958's The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, which was had special effects by Ray Harryhausen, who was
I think I never watched that movie.
Yeah,
Really?
same here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Like,
maybe,
all
but I
the
don't
time.
remember it.
well.
It's almost it's literally a classic.
It's
I remember the TV show of Sinbad.
Yes.
the 90s one.
Yeah.
That was pretty good too.
But it was pretty good.
But this movie was Ray Harryhausen was like Alan Moore is a wizard with writing. Ray Harryhausen is a special effects wizard. He basically made stop motion animation and claymation popular, in my opinion. So, as I said, the first movie I could remember watching was Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, and that scene where the Cyclops, the main creature of the movie, comes out of its cave, and it's just like this big monstrosity.
It gave me nightmares for years. Because it's the stop motion.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sure, Cyclops.
But it was like
he's fine,
great looking
but, like,
creature.
it's so,
Is-
yeah.
And when it comes out of the cave, I was like 6 at the time, and it blew my mind. It was just the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and I said, I want to do that. Like, I didn't know what it was I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to do
I
it.
want to be a Cyclops.
I wanted to, and since then...
Book the appointment, I'm cutting these out.
Gonna form... ever since then, I've wanted to basically tell stories, and that's why I write my own stories, and I try to produce my own short films on occasion. I stopped recently, and it's something I want to try and get back into. So since then... and since I was a child, and even after that, I watched a lot of old movies, black and white movies. Universal produced a lot of monster movies in the 30s and 40s.
They're rebooting the universe now.
Yeah, with they started with Dracula Untold. Yeah, and they're
Which they tried to redo. They tried
Is
to start back.
Frankenstein?
yes, the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the same
Same
universe?
department?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
I'll get into that because Universal had a monster franchise, a monster series that started with. It started with Dracula in 1931 and Frankenstein both
It's
in
not like the
1931.
Nosferatu.
No, that was before that. That was in
before.
1920. I want to say 3, but I could be wrong. And they had this universe, kind of like how Marvel is doing now with the cinematic universe. They had this, but with monsters.
Which is a good idea.
Yeah, they had Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, Creature of the Black Lagoon, and the Mummy.
If
all...
you go to sorry,
No, go ahead.
if you go to Universal Studio,
Yeah.
like monsters are huge over there.
Mhm.
They have like a show, a complete show, a rock show of like Frankenstein like rock and rolling around and stuff.
Well, it's
But they
probably inspired from
because
from
they
that.
own the whole thing, and they,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
even have
a restaurant where you can stop, and the whole thing is themed monster,
Mhm.
and they're still going on at it
Really?
with their monster theme thing. Because I mean,
Why not?
it's the basic of cinema, right?
Yeah, and this sort of franchise, they crossed over into each other's movies. One of my personal favorites is Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, where it's like the first time you had these two. This is the first movie where these creatures entered each other's worlds, and you realize, oh, this is all one big universe. The time stamps didn't make sense because one movie took place then, this one took place at another time. You didn't know when they
But at
actually
that point,
took place.
who cares?
At that, yeah, exactly. It came to the point where it's like, okay, they're all in the same universe. They all can meet each other. They all fight each other, and that's how that happened. And now, yes, they're rebooting that. They're trying to reboot that
Yeah.
franchise with. I
I've
think
heard
they tried
recently
it.
That it's kind of delayed.
I don't know about Frankenstein, the new one,
Well,
or the series itself.
That whole universe. I've read somewhere recently, like last week or something, that they are delaying the whole project for some kind of reason. I don't know.
I think they initially tried to do it with the Wolfman, starring Benicio del Toro.
Yes, that was amazing.
I really enjoyed it. I don't
Yeah.
see what the easy critic. So me, I was just like Wolfman, yeah, and like it was great. That didn't really work, and I believe that's when they said, okay, let's do Dracula, and they did Dracula Untold, which you really like.
I really loved it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
special effects.
And I wasn't
soundtrack.
expecting the ending.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That was like so.
Which leads to an open world, like an open universe with
Yeah.
all of them.
And now the new Frankenstein movie is starring James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe.
Really?
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe plays Igor. I don't. From what I've seen in the photos, I don't believe he's a hunchback, but I could be wrong because you only see him from the front so far. And James, Professor X plays Dr. Frankenstein.
Anybody cast yet for Frankenstein himself?
I don't.
The monster.
creature,
sorry,
yeah,
the creature,
the
yes.
creature. I don't think so.
Technically,
Actually, no. No, I don't believe so. If there is, I haven't looked into it. But yeah, that's how I got into filmmaking and storytelling in general. I like the idea of creating worlds. For
I
lack
like being a god.
yes.
No, but honestly, creation gives like a power to the person, and it's really empowering to create, literally. So
Mhm.
that's why a lot of people do it. And
Yeah. Mark, did you have a favorite movie?
Well, I have more of a favorite movie,
Mhm.
and it's a movie that I could almost reiterate word by word, frame by frame, scene by scene, and that's Terminator 2.
Yeah, greatest sequel of all time. Yeah.
Yeah. However, you have to watch it the uncut version.
Yeah.
If you watch the cut version, it's really not the same.
Yeah. It's
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the uncut.
Really?
The uncut, there's so many little parts that they add into the movie that should have been cut to begin with.
Mhm.
Really?
Which always tends to happen. It's for time constraints and
Yeah, but
and
come
and
on.
and how well a story flows.
It
you know,
flowed pretty well with
yeah.
the
But in
with
that
the
case,
added
it's,
scenes.
yeah, but in that case, it's more probably a time constraint thing.
There's also the thing about fanboys. We always
want to see more, and we feel
That's-
like, oh shit,
yeah.
I got the more version.
Yeah.
So I get more things.
They're
I get-
re-releasing Blade Runner with 30 seconds of extra footage.
All right, in the Ultra,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, Ultra
Plus, at
something.
the time, it was in VHS. Let's say the quality/quantity of space you have is not
I don't even think my VHS version works anymore. I've played it so many times.
Yeah, it's happened to me for a couple of Godzilla movies, actually.
And you tape the film back together because
Oh, I never did that.
Oh.
It was just gone.
Yeah.
It was finished.
I play it till it blows up.
Terminator 2. Yeah.
So now you can't wait for the new movie, Genesis.
Genesis?
That's an argument on its own. Okay, it looks good. I don't think they should have spoiled such a big thing in the
They do a
last
lot of
trailer.
The one they
Always for all the trailers.
They do that a lot
Now
nowadays.
Avengers.
They tell the story, the entire story, but like in cutscenes.
Yeah.
And
The latest trailer for Avengers: Age of Ultron is amazing, but again, they
Vision?
spoil a
They
lot
show
of things.
it, but that's not really story spoilers. It's more of just cool shots and cool sequences.
We'll see next week.
Yeah. The end of the week, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of just like the cool stuff that you see with Captain America and Thor. That it's like, well, it would have been cool to see on the big screen, you know. So Nicholas.
Don't get me wrong. I love watching movies.
Yeah.
It's not a passion. It's like I have
It's a pastime.
exactly. I will always have the classic movies in head. You know, Star Wars, Godfather, Toy Story.
Yeah.
I cried at the end of the
The third one.
I cried at Pokemon.
They were
Oh my
holding
God.
hands.
I cried
At the
Pokemon
end?
when he transforms into a statue, and I was like, oh, Pokemon's around.
The first one.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
Pikachu, she's like Pikachu.
Yeah.
Just speaking about it, man.
Yeah.
I think it's the only movie
I
I
cried. I was like, no, I didn't cry. I teared. Sorry.
No, I blubbered like a
You
baby.
cried.
like.
So emotional.
I don't remember
cry.
feeling anything for that part. I've cried at movies. Don't get me wrong. I'm not afraid to admit I've cried during movie. I cried at Toy Story 3. I did.
2 places.
2 places? No, me it was just the end.
Me was when all the toys were going into the furnace.
And then at the end when
And they
the
hold-
kid is leaving.
all their hands together,
Yeah.
and they're like, "We're gonna do this together," and
Yeah.
it's so
I
emotional.
was just like, it's the end of an era.
And now they're rebooting it.
And now they're,
it's
they're
not
doing a
reboot,
4th
but
one. Yeah. But but you pick. You don't have a favorite. You just like.
No, yeah, exactly. I love watching movies. It's a great time killer.
What could you watch over and over again?
like one movie. Like with
It's
me,
really
it's
stupid
there,
to
like,
admit it, but Awesome Power.
Which one?
Oh, that's a good one. The first 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a preference. Which one? I would say the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, I could
Yeah.
watch that movie over and over again.
Yeah.
It's just so many scenes, so funny. It's Mike Myers is the king.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's
No, Austin Powers is it's a good choice. I like that. Yeah.
yeah, that's for me.
All right, Jonathan.
I think as a kid, the first movie I remember, I think, was Hackers. Personally, the point that first they're technological geniuses, also that they're rebel against authorities.
That's the movie with Angelina Jolie, right?
Yep.
That's my third point. Sexy Angelina Jolie,
Yeah.
and she was a massive nerd. So I was like, wow, she was like on the top of my top list.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so basically that movie had everything I wanted to.
You want it. Period.
Yeah, that I
And like they were playing video games. It was like a dream world for a young guy interested in technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but also in the same era, I think it came out in 1992, but this movie was when I watched it, it was already a retro. It's Tron, the original, and the fact that it was the original, the first CGI movie ever made, I thought that was amazing, and also the fact that it represented
Well, first film to have CGI in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a form of CGI in it. Yeah.
and the fact that it was the visual representation of an abstract thing such as the inside of a computer.
Yeah.
like that was very like something to make a kid dream. So
On that point, I love reboots.
Say that.
Yeah.
This is really starting to sound
Yeah,
like
it sounds like and it took me a while.
Live action.
reboot, literally almost.
Yeah, almost. It took me a while, as far as reboot goes, it took me a while to realize that they were inside a computer and that they were programmed in a computer. And then it took a little longer to realize that the user is a kid playing video games. And then
really sucks.
And then I realized he really sucks at video games. He loses all the time.
Not all the time.
Oh, come on.
There's-
Like,
hey.
almost all the time. Yeah.
We have pretty good guardians.
Yes.
So what you're telling me is, if I win the game, my computer's going to be like crap at the end of the day.
Exactly.
What's the thing about that? I never understood the premise of if you win the game,
It wipes out a sector.
it
Erase your computer.
Well, think of it this way. What happens when you use a computer? You wear it out. Like anything that you use, it gets worn out.
Holy shit.
So you're playing a game, you're working the processor and you know, everything inside the computer eventually...
Yeah, but
Let's say on that TV show, it's pretty extreme.
Yes. You're playing like...
But again,
you
you
want
must-
to lose.
but again,
It was 15 years ago.
Yeah. So like think of it that way.
You know, it could be the mainframe being the memory, and when you win it, it's reformatting a section of your memory because you're saving new
Your
information.
save data.
So what it's
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
at is not, to them it looks like a
Holy
sector
shit.
being deleted,
Like
but in
mainframe.
fact it's being
reformatted.
it's
or-
reformatted.
Yeah.
Did you guys see how the
the CD is made.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's basically like a disc.
Yeah.
Holy
It's
shit.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where have you been?
That's what I'm saying. It's oh my god.
it's like a hard drive. So
Yeah.
The hard drives, holy shit. That
They're inside a computer and they're bits and pieces. All the side characters, the non
Are zeros and ones.
they're zeros and ones. They're all binary.
And any sprite, they all have names similar or reminiscent to a computer part.
Yeah.
Why were the main characters so different? They were like humanoid.
I
Was it
think
just-
they-
why didn't
you
I
look at
think
me?
they explain it at some point in the series. I have no idea. That
Well,
Like-
they considered
I
them
don't
as
know now.
sprites. As opposed to zeros and ones, they're binomes, or binary code. Sprites were a different form of...
And you got to think
just like the viruses.
Bob was a guardian. He's probably like an antivirus.
Antivirus. Oh, cool.
And why is he not called Norton?
Or Tron.
Well, back
Turbo.
but this going back to Tron. So Tron was Hackers and Tron were like your two
Yeah.
biggest like movies.
There's
Also something else, but I watched it over and over again. It was all the Ernest movies.
Yeah,
And that was just for comedy.
Yeah,
there was
that
no like affiliation, no real.
real
it was just
feeling
because they
of
were
love.
funny.
They
Yeah.
are
It was just like,
hard
yeah, I'll
to
watch it.
watch now.
I'm sorry?
They are really hard to watch now.
Well, because you don't think they aged well, or
Like,
No,
you don't think he's
Funny anymore.
No, the joke. No offense, but the jokes are they're really corny now. But
We
whatever,
know
they
this-
were good at their time, and I'm not going to diss them because they were part of my childhood too. So
You know what they say, right? Never meet your heroes because things are not what they seem. You think you remember, and I think that applies to all the old stuff.
Well,
no,
watch-
not all the
well,
old stuff.
well,
I don't think
let's-
that saying it like applies to that.
Yeah.
well, I understand what you mean. It's kind of like something you remember something nostalgia, and you're like, I want to watch that again, and then you watch it and you're like, this is not as good as I remember it being. It's
Have you played PS1 games?
yeah.
Oh my god, they were like the best. Like Metal Gear Solid,
Yeah.
it was the best game ever. One of the best game ever. I'm sorry.
speaking about PlayStation games,
Mm-hmm.
by accident I clicked on Animorphs on Netflix last night.
Animorphs.
Yeah, they put it recently.
Wow.
First episode, they're playing Beast Wars on PlayStation, and they're calling it something completely different.
Really.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have the license.
when I saw it on screen, I'm like, they're playing Beast Wars. Like, what the hell's going on? Sorry, off topic.
So, no,
What
well,
game of Beast Wars?
It's not the Transmetal one. It's the first one. The Transmetal one was a fighter game, which was the second one.
Yeah.
But they had a Beast Wars one at the beginning. But they were horribly rendered.
so that's it. That's about it for movies. We're gonna move on to toys and collectibles, which is Mark's designated area.
Oh boy, is it ever! You're in for a treat.
Well, they are. We've seen.
Yeah.
Fine.
We're fed
You
up
know.
now.
Toys. You know, I've been getting into toys about over 10 years now, and what really got me into it, unfortunately, was the first Transformers movie. Not the cartoon one, the live-action one by Michael Bay.
Really?
Now, I wasn't...
Has that been 10 years? Oh, or this is like when you got into really big collect. Oh, really?
I would say 10 years, so yeah.
Has it been 10 years?
10 years.
To the interweb.
Anywho, after seeing the movie, I was so excited to have a live-action version of the Transformers. I went out and purchased just a couple of the main toys of the main characters of the show.
From the movie?
From the movie. From the show. From the movie. And I put them up on the up on my wall.
8 years. It's been
8 years. I feel old.
When I put them up on my wall and I saw them there, I'm like, man, I really like collecting
It looks
toys.
empty around.
So I'm like, what other series would I like to start collecting? Well, I went on eBay.
Yeah.
That day was the day your wallet hated you.
And that day was the first day of the rest of your life.
Credit card, anything, any source of income hated me after that. I started collecting the Amazing Spider-Man 90s collection toys there. I bought one, then a lot of 10, and a lot of 20, then another 1. At the end, I had about 77 of them, filling up one whole wall in my room.
Like a lot of doubles, I assume, because it can't be that big of a collection.
I don't have them all.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's almost complete, but
Then there's a lot of variants? Or?
there's a lot of variants. There's a lot of sub-series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They did some really
Oh,
wacky
But then
yeah.
that
Like the
depends what
Ninja
you're
Turtles did,
willing
like,
to
you know-
collect.
Yes.
That depends on what you're willing to collect.
Yeah, I sort of
You can stop
I
at just
collected
main
the
series.
main line, and I think 2 of the sub lines, which was one of those Electro sub line, and you had Captain America in it. You had Electro, you had Electroshock,
good
Spider-Man,
episode.
you had stuff
Electro
like
and
that.
Captain America?
And then there was another series with just basically villains. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I sort of stopped.
I remember
after
the
that.
Venom figure from that. Yeah. My cousin had the Venom figure.
Well, they did the same thing like, Ninja Turtles used to do and come out with these wacky waves.
Yeah.
They even had Spider-Man in a skater outfit and a
You
skateboard.
used to do, still do.
Yeah.
And now they're worse.
There's but there's like random shit nowadays, like cosplay Ninja Turtles, which are pretty cool, but like, I want them, but I don't,
Well, after getting those and filling up one wall, I decided to go back to Transformers and pick up every other one that had been released. And
From the movies or
From the movie.
Okay.
And I filled my wall with that one, and I went on. I got Sideshow collectible toys, and I liked
Sideshow.
those. What?
Sideshow.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
And then you started Beast Wars?
No, there was also the Marvel Universe.
That one that happened later on, and I only went with Marvel Universe. I loved it because I missed the Toy Biz era. The Toy Biz era with the Marvel Legends.
Marvel Legends was good.
They were amazing, and to go back and collect those mint on card is like next to impossible. At least not at an affordable price. So I thought, hey, Marvel Universe, they're starting. We got them at Toys R Us. Hey, there was only 7 in the first wave. Let me buy the wave and go on from
And it's
there.
only 7.
You're
It's only
so
7.
naive.
Then
I
next
was
wave
young
was
at the
8.
time.
The wave after that 4, and then they kept on fluctuating on how many comes out on the wave. But at least they're easier to collect and easier to get from the beginning. Then they just spiraled out of control, and they had duplicates and different packaging, same character, different paint jobs, different
Or something like releasing the same figure with a different number.
Yeah.
Which,
With the new packaging.
well, that goes with the new packaging.
Yeah.
But you've told me this many times, that you're a completionist.
I have to get everything.
So like once you have one, and even if it's it's the same figure that you have, but it's a different number. So you're like, I have to get it now
Good
because
year.
it's a different series or a different wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's bad.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore,
Yeah.
thankfully.
Yeah.
But since I was so up to my eyeballs in Marvel Universe, and I was buying all the variants, I was buying all the Comic-Con exclusives, all the rare ones, I was getting them all. I had no choice to pick up the ones that were being re-released.
But you know what I like about your
Collection is when you started collecting when I saw your collection of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
You collected the loose figures.
Yes.
So I could compare like what was in the box and what was a loose figure, and I felt that you could actually have a hands-on with your figures when they're loose, because you could look at them, you can inspect them. When they're in the box, they're just away.
You're
they're
talking more
out
for,
of reach.
You're talking
right?
for like collecting purposes,
Yeah,
or to
exactly.
compare
Like
and
loose
contrast.
compared to loose and to
Yeah.
to mint on card.
So
Card, like they're not accessible. When your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, when you I think you start from the beginning to have loose figures.
Yes,
Yeah.
I found it with
Why? Why did you decided to that series? I will also have it loose.
That's I'm a big mint on card collector.
Yeah.
I do have stuff that's loose.
That is what it's worth. Like
Yeah,
mint is worth something.
but I'm not buying my toys to sell them later on down the road. I'm buying them to collect them, and mint on card come with a hook. You can hang them on a
It
on
looks
the wall,
nice.
and
Yeah,
it-
exactly.
It's
It's a nice
all
display.
in one. It's really nice. Yes, I really enjoy touching and feeling the figure, and that's why
It
with
does.
Ninja Turtles, it's a lot easier to get a loose lot than a mint on card lot. And a mint on card lot will cost you about 10 times as much as
Yeah.
say
A loose.
one loose figure.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've been picking them up at flea markets, garage sales, online in lots in mass quantities, and trying to piece them together with accessories here, accessories there to make my complete turtle.
I got like a vision of you in like a lab. You're like an archaeologist getting pieces of like rock and putting it together to make a tablet, but with toys. And
That's
you're like,
essentially what I do.
yeah, but you're buying lots of Ninja Turtles, and you're like, you dig through it, and you're like, you find one of
You see the
Donatello's.
matrix of the toy.
You find like one of Donatello's staff, and you're like, this is it. Then you like throw it all away and get only that.
Like Iron Man, like, he pops up the the specs
Yes,
of the suit.
yes.
I pop up the specs of what I have. Okay, I need
Yeah,
this
and you
piece
pull it
here,
and bring
this
it
piece
together.
There, this piece there.
talking about buying sets.
You guys ever had that issue where you have a set? Let's say you were able to collect 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
And you need that 4.
You need number 4, but nowhere is it ever available. Only the 4. You're gonna buy this. You're gonna have to almost rebuy the full set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
wait.
6.
Oh, just wait.
But I hate waiting.
It depends.
When I see it,
yeah,
I'm like,
but
oh,
it
no,
de-
you have to. You have to, right?
It depends on what it is for me. If it's something for lack of a better word, or for what I feel is I need it now, I will get, as long as it's not too crazy. If I have 1 through 5 and I'm missing 4, I'm not going to get 1 through 5 to get that 4, but I'll get
Exactly.
I'll get 4 and 5, or I'll get 3 and 4, and I'll stretch it as far as maybe I'll get 3, 4, and 5 at the same time.
Because a lot of used
Comic book stores, they to sell better, they sell a full set.
Yeah, of course.
But that's the thing. They never want to break the set because they're not going to be able to sell a 1, 2, 3, 5.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really it's not it's frustrating, but I understand that.
Personally, it depends on what it is that I'm trying to collect. I don't know about you.
That's why I never started pops.
Yeah, pop figures.
Pop figures is
The
really
Useless
addictive.
thing you could ever collect. Yeah, I'm not a toy guy, but man, I got quite a few pop figures.
If I was collecting them personally for myself, and I see those lovely
Numbers.
numbers
Yeah.
at the top right hand
Yeah.
corner, stating which one they are. If I had number 7 and I had number 10,
Yeah.
I needed those ones in the middle. I don't
Yeah.
care if I didn't like those characters in the
And
middle.
here's the thing:
I need them all.
It's different per series.
Yeah.
So like you have 2 number 20s because they're 2 different series.
Yeah,
Which
I think there's also 2
Different characters in 2 different series.
Sometimes
Two
it'll
same
be
characters
that.
in 2 different
Yeah.
characters. Let's say movies for Spider-Man, and then there's going to be the animated series Spider-Man, but they're mostly the same. It's Spider-Man, but
Well,
just
that's the thing. They
different
change. They
costumes.
try to change it up so you're not rebuying the same figure unless it's a variant of the figure.
Yeah.
Like when Man of Steel came out, they did Man of Steel, they did Zod, and then they did San Diego Comic-Con. They did Superman, Zod, and then they did San Diego Comic-Con Superman, which he was in black. And it's the same number. It's just 2 different figures. They'll make them different enough.
The packaging will change a bit, no?
I think it depends on the
Sometimes
figure.
they just put a sticker on.
Yeah,
it.
if
Yeah.
it's glow in the dark, it's just a sticker.
It's just
If it's like the Walking Dead series and they're blood splattered, the character's blood splattered, the box will have a blood splatter on it as well.
Mm.
But as for the most part, the numbers will be the same, the figure will be different, and depending on how different the figure, the box will slightly be different. At least for pop figures. How it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how it is for other figures. I guess it depends on what series, you know?
How about you, Nick?
My turn.
I never really collected anything, but
Toy related.
yeah, toy. When I was younger, my brother and I we used to collect a lot of Beast Wars. We had so many, just unbelievable. And now I'm sad just to think that where they are right now, you know?
And you
It's
don't
like,
know.
what happened to them?
It's such a
I
common
had
story.
so many.
Yeah.
It's such a common story that people say like, "Oh, I used to have that, but something happened." But even I don't know what happened. Something one day to another happened, and I just lost them.
At one point or another, they were out of your house, and you just don't know where or why or how.
Parents.
Like my
my worst
12-inch Krang figure that was in my closet
nice.
for the longest time, and it just simply disappeared. I never left the house with it. I never played with it. It was in their storage, and then all of a sudden, gone.
Mm-hmm.
The Gremlins, man.
It was the
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
This is the most obvious answer.
So, Beast
So,
Wars.
yeah, Beast Wars.
Used to collect Beast Wars, a lot of Legos. Obviously,
Legos.
like anyone.
Would you have like the common set, or not the common set, like the
Generic?
basic one, generic one, or would you have the sets?
Play sets, like
Both.
themed.
Both.
Both?
Would you
Yeah,
mix
yeah.
them? Because I would hate mixing like the spaceship sets.
At
the color
first,
sets.
it was mixing. No, not mixing, but let's be honest. After a while, it's
like, who cares?
Exactly.
Well, Legos were meant to be built. Like, you know, use your
Right
imagination and
now,
rebuild them.
if I would
To collect again Legos? No.
No,
it's
same
sets,
here.
You know, it's
You build them in sets and they be on display in sets.
At
And
the,
that's it.
Exactly.
you know what? Well, I'll get to it, but yeah.
Would you just make it? Right now,
You would buy them. You would make a set and just leave it as
Leave
a
it.
display.
Me right now, yeah. I would do it.
Would you super glue them so they never come
No, are
apart?
you crazy? I would sometimes. Right now, with some of the sets, they come with
Okay, they're low business.
variation. So you have one set that you can do multiple things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Mm-hmm.
But like I know myself, I'll do which one I like.
That's it.
Most,
That's all.
and then it's on display. That's it.
Because that's the thing. You're not going to play with it every day.
Exactly. But that's why also I don't collect any toys, because for me it's something to display and then it's dust and then you. Okay, I started collecting Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Now,
because of him.
Oh,
Because of him.
Recently.
Yeah, really recently. I have
Oh, sure.
Saba, 2 Morphers, a set of coins. I'm waiting for the Dragon Dagger, which someday will go on special.
Saba's that white sword, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
the
amazing.
white sword.
The white sword.
It's
Now they
not so-
have
The white sword.
that series, the Legacy series,
Yeah.
which is amazing because mostly everything is die cast.
Yeah.
Really heavy.
I've got some more
Expensive,
for
but
myself.
not that much. So
It
it's
feels
worth
right.
it.
Yeah.
Well, especially for, our generation that grew up with it.
yeah.
Now, prices of the original stuff is like astronomical. And if you just want to...
You just want to have it.
You just want to have it. You don't
But-
want to buy
But
it
that's
just to
something
resell
else.
it or something.
That Legacy series.
Is made mostly for adults.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why it says...
For
That's
the
why,
ones
yeah.
that used to listen to it.
Yeah.
Watch it.
You know? Yeah, watch it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
but
I know what you mean exactly because they're not stupid. they say no,
look
they're
what-
not.
look
They're
what
not
DC's
stupid. They say
doing.
sorry
DC's doing the same
They
thing
could
with the
be
Batman
smart.
animated
with the
line.
Batman animated figures, which
Yes.
Those
yeah.
are more geared towards adults.
Of
Yes.
course.
Yes, they're super posable and that, and I wish as a kid I had a toy
Well-
that was posable like that. But
yeah.
the things that
But
they're
they
coming
know
out
that
with,
it's been 20 years since this has been on the air, Power Rangers or Batman or whatever it would be. These people that watched it and loved it so much are grown up now.
now they now have the money.
They now have the money.
First of all, yeah, they'll get themselves back into it if they're willing to,
Mhm.
and they'll get other people into it. They'll get their children into it.
And it's a never-ending cycle.
It's
Yeah.
really smart how they
did it. They start with the basic action figures, and now they're releasing in, I think it's in September or
The Batmobile.
the Batmobile, which is amazing.
I don't
I know.
collect
It's
DC
beautiful,
whatsoever.
expensive.
Want-
It's
It's
like
big.
100 something.
Yeah.
but it's so.
But I
beautiful.
want it.
I know.
There was
But
that
need
Batmobile.
it.
That Batmobile is amazing. They released a toy back in the 90s. And I think they had like 5 variant colors.
Yeah,
I'm still looking for one
the one that splits.
mint-ish looking at least.
I had the regular one as a child.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm still looking for it because I wanted my collection. I for now what I got the Automobilia mini version. It's just small.
The
it's
magazine.
nice. Exactly.
Mhm.
and threw away the magazine. I just get that little car. And but that's you say
what is your yours was like Legos and Beast Wars and stuff. What was your childhood toy then?
my childhood toy. I think I grew up a lot with all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I thought I had all of them until I saw Mars Collection. And then because there's things apparently they released a few that were not even on TV, not even comics. They were just released for toys.
That's because Playmates had the design, the schematics to do whatever they wanted. Since Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, they went off and they were busy doing like the comic book / with the TV show and all that, and they gave full access right to Playmates. Mm-hmm. So Playmates could do whatever they want. And they came up with like every single animal that you know of has been in the Ninja Turtle toy line.
Because I know they also released a
comic that was owned by, mostly produced by Playmate. They made character specifically to sell toys. They didn't care about the character. He stayed for one episode.
It was the Archie comics.
Yeah.
And that's where they got, once they created the toy of it, they introduced it in the Archie comics. And they promoted it in there. Yeah. So whoever read those knew what those characters were. Kids, they didn't really care. They were buying every single Ninja Turtle toy, whatever. Oh, look, a moose now. Let me use the moose.
But yes,
I thought I had them all. My favorite, I think, were I don't know why, but the trench coat. There was the trench coat, Metalhead, and for my
which trench coat? There was two different styles. One that was only Donatello.
Oh my god!
And then there was one where it's actually all 4 turtles. Yeah. They were done in there's a Toon Turtle outfit, and they have a material trench coat.
Oh no, it was the Donatello.
Okay, the undercover Donatello.
Yeah, exactly. And Metalhead,
which was I think I found, I don't know where I found it, but it was really used. I didn't buy it new. Sadly, I loved that figure.
Mm-hmm. And honestly,
but it was
used Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
Though it's painful to see a toy damaged, if it's used,
they have a story.
It has a story, man. It lived its life. It was in some child's hand at one point.
It came to life when Kid wasn't there.
No,
I mean,
as a
it
child,
was a good movie. I love that movie.
But as a
child, I got it used. It was all screwed up, but I loved it. And for my 12th birthday, I got the Technodrome. The sad thing is, I didn't want the Technodrome. I wanted the sewer lair, which my cousin got. So I was at that point. I started playing a lot with my cousin because I really wanted to play with.
Hey, cuz!
And
how's it going?
Now you told me like a few days ago that both of them were connecting.
Yep.
And I think I never actually played it that way.
You didn't know it was that you could just put them together.
No, they were designed to do that.
Yeah. And
however, there was never a design to put the turtle van on top of the sewer, which would have been great. You know, to park it on display, put your van somewhere up there, like where the tube was coming up from the back. Have more of a platform just to park the van. That would be like amazing.
There is a platform on that sewer layer, right?
There's a platform there with a sewer manhole cover, but behind has a pipe that goes up, so you can't
not
really
enough room to.
Okay. You could put the van straight up there on the top, but you got to remove everything else.
They could probably.
They would have probably be able to design it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care. To me, that one there as a playset is solid as a rock compared to the newer one.
Well, everything back in the days was more solid.
Well, the cost of plastic and all that back then probably doesn't cost the same as it does now.
It's all
toys.
Steel toys, that was dangerous. I hurt myself so much. Oh, those Hot Toys car. Those Hot Toys, I had so many. But they were just
Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's something else. Hot Toys are something else completely.
Yeah, the Hot Wheels and...
Yep.
Because if you're hurting yourself with them, you shouldn't really be playing with those. Those are for display purposes only.
It's like saying, "Oh, I've been
by Legos." Yeah, well,
obviously.
Just worse than Leatherpit.
Going into that, like same here. I wasn't. I had various toys as a child. I don't recall what could have been my favorite. I did have that Batmobile that you were talking about that you're trying to find now. I had that, and when it came out, the Batplane came out of it. And
which color?
Just the gray one from the show. Like
it's the only one that counts, right?
Well,
I think I
didn't even know there was different colors until you mentioned it. Yeah. So but other than that, Legos. I'm going onto what Nick said. Legos is definitely what I played with the most. I had a tube about yay big of like 5 different colors, all mixed.
Wow.
And it was a tube that they sold for a reasonable price with so many Legos. But me, I never mixed. Even like back then, I was very particular with how I did things. So even when I got sets, I built the sets according to the instructions, and I left it alone.
You're crazy. No fun.
No fun. No.
What I did, but going into again filmmaking, I would make stop motion videos with the Legos. There was a series called Lego Studios, Steven Spielberg's Lego Studios, and they had the Amazing Spider-Man movie sets, and then there was monster sets that were very much like the Universal monster characters, almost I would say exactly like them. So there was a big it was called the Scary Castle, but it was the Frankenstein monster with a castle and the mad scientist.
But it was super scary.
But yeah, there was a spooky ghost.
That ghost.
The glow in the dark one?
Yeah.
Ghost.
Oh, yeah.
The glow in the dark one, and it came with like a little
So
makeup
iconic.
studio also. There was a werewolf set, a mummy set, and a vampire set, and I made about a 10-minute short film that was basically the Frankenstein story in Lego. All that footage is lost. I don't know where it went. I don't know what happened to it. But so I had the Lego Studios camera, and I had the software, and I made short films with the Lego sets. But other than that, no, I built them to the instruction as the instructions said, and I left it there. But that was just me.
There's a thing I remember about Legos is that I received a massive box of mixed stuff and everything, but it was all the spaceship sets, and there was many spaceship things, and I think I threw out all the instructions because I didn't like them. And I started building every single Star Wars ship that I could think about. Obviously not like the Star Destroyer and like anything like that. But
that you could figure out in your head how to...
Yeah. So I built a Millennium Falcon, an X-Wing, a TIE Fighter, an AT-AT, a AT-ST, and...
We call it an
AT-AT. Really? Oh, cool. The Walker.
The Walker, yeah. Big thing.
Yeah. And yeah.
That about covers it for our toys, and finally we have video games, and other sorts from Nicholas, who is our game expert.
Yeah, I don't have a crazy story about it. Obviously, I like playing video games.
Obsess.
Actually, I'm thinking about starting a new collection of video games, but that's another story.
Okay.
The first game I remember ever completed by myself is Legend of Zelda.
The first one?
No.
Okay.
Well, depends of your point of view. Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
First movie I ever completed by and I was really proud of myself because that's a hard game. Let's be honest.
Okay.
You need to be smart to finish that game. Yeah. 64. Because before that I used to play with my brother and my friends, but that was the first game I ever completed by myself. The story is so amazing. For me, it's still one of the best game ever. I could play right now and still be as much amazed of when I was like, I don't know how old I was at the time, pretty young.
I would imagine.
Exactly.
I read a blog.
I think 2 days ago, something like top 100 best games ever.
Yeah.
And Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was number 1.
Exactly.
And it was number one in a lot of places.
I obviously bought the 3DS version.
What? Yeah, the one that just came out
Well, it just came out
recently.
Exactly. Because now it was Majora's Mask, my second best game on 3DS, which was remastered and added a few things amazing. I played.
They added to what would they add to it, or like just like how it changes, how it plays.
Exactly.
I mean, okay,
graphic and stuff.
Yeah.
I played every single Legend of Zelda games, every single one. I'm eager. I can't wait for the new one on Wii U.
Thank you.
That been delayed again.
Yeah.
I haven't played one on the new one on Wii U. It's Hyrule Warriors.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. I will play, just not now. Since I don't own a Wii U.
Yet.
Yet.
Yeah.
That again.
Yeah.
The
Legend of Zelda.
Legend of
Mhm.
Obviously,
There's always the classics. Final Fantasy. Big fan.
Calm down.
Yeah, exactly. Pokemon, still to say, but amazing
Oh,
games.
no. I wasn't a huge fan of the show. I watched it, but
Really?
Pokemon, the Game Boy game, that was
it's so addictive.
Yes or no?
yes.
Yes, yeah, okay.
Oh,
Wasn't
yes.
a fan of the
Yes.
show,
Yeah.
but was a fan of the game.
Yeah, I watched
Come on,
the
come
show,
Man.
but
Yeah.
the game.
The main
The
plot.
game, which is the same thing as the TV show, is like you're the guy,
Gotta-
and you just need to
gotta catch 'em all.
train. No, yes, but is it to train and be the best?
It's an RPG. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
really good. You gain
Better than all the
levels.
rest. Yeah.
Exactly.
It was good.
It's before WoW, you know.
Yeah.
And
You need to
single
level up
one-
and be the best and beat everyone else.
Yeah.
And that
Every single one after that was even better. Better graphics, better story.
Damn, I'm still playing it.
I still play that one.
New ones.
Yeah, I played the red and blue. I think once a year. Every year I start a new game.
You delete your old file and
Yeah.
what? Okay,
No.
well I used
That's
to
crazy.
to be fair, I used to do
You
that.
talk crazy.
I used to do that with my PS1 and 2 games. So
I could never.
Never delete
Yeah.
a game.
But back in the days, they released a cartridge you could put and save different games. That was the next level. Of,
Oh yeah,
Which was
flash
amazing is
your memory.
Pokemon Stadium.
Mhm.
They had that thing that you plug to the
For N64 there, and you
play
upload your
Game Boy.
key. Oh,
that was so
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah, you can accelerate your game. That's what I thought. After playing, I could not go back to the slow version. Because you know when you take this, basically, you know when you take the bike in the game, is that speed all the time.
and then on the bike it's faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be honest. I never catched all the 150 Pokemons. 151.
Mm-hmm.
I never catch them all because well, that's the thing. Okay,
Well, like-
I owned them all at some point, but I used to have the evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
I never actually got one of each in my
Oh,
build
okay,
PC.
yeah. No, that's
Like-
not true.
Well,
No, well, it's
Yeah.
feasible.
It's doable
it's doable. It's just it's gonna take
because
forever.
I think that's the point of the game, right? Got to catch them all.
Yeah, which is why they release 2 at a time, because you can only get certain ones in
Yeah,
certain
exactly.
games, and then you have to trade and catch.
And it's still the same thing now.
And yeah, of course.
And now they have that new thing. It's
The bank, which you can trade from your other game. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like a big database, but like you can store your Pokemon of like another game
Mm-hmm.
to be easy to have them all.
And two, you can
Because
go
now,
online.
let's
right?
be honest, there's like 1,000 Pokemons right now.
Yeah.
768, I think.
Nice.
Just you know, just a guess.
FYI. also, too, in the
Oh.
Pokemon games, you could go onto like Nintendo's server and trade with other people
Yes.
worldwide.
Yes.
You don't have to
Which
have
is
like your
amazing.
friend down the street that you know
Yeah.
you've spoken to
you
only
can
to trade
duel
Pokemon.
with a kid.
China, if
Yeah.
you want.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Personally, I would say it's not my first video games. Obviously, first video games were Nintendo's and the basic ones. It was fun, interesting. It was a pastime. But when I really got obsessed with video games is when Final Fantasy VIII came out. It was I think it was near October. I think it was like an early Christmas gift or something.
Mm.
And in I think I have it here 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And this game was amazing. Everybody like fantasized over Final Fantasy VII. I didn't like the graphics or how the
Even at the time, you mean?
It didn't look like a real
person or something. You couldn't connect to like a like this doll that was moving around.
Okay.
The gameplay was really awesome in Final Fantasy VII, but I think the what at the time seemed like, oh my god, they look so real type of thing was awesome. And
Mhm.
also they were like, we're in a school, and it was
that guy that
You're
was.
talking about 7 or 8 now?
No, I'm talking about 8.
Okay.
Where
the graphic looked more like a real person. They were more
Built. For lack of
they
a
look
better
more proportional.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
At the time, it was Squaresoft or Square Enix.
Squaresoft.
Squaresoft.
Yeah. And how they did with, I think, is how you build the summons and how you could mix items that you collect from the fiend you would kill. You could build stuff with very special stuff, and what I like the most about the series is how the boss was never the strongest character of the game. There was always like the I think the alpha and the omega weapons, and these things were impossible to beat.
I remember in Final Fantasy X,
Yeah.
I beat that game so many times, and those two, oh my god, I just can't believe how strong they are. Because they are in every single game.
Yeah. But in Final Fantasy VIII, well, I think it's not even about skills, because they're gonna make a series of probably 10 to 15 moves that are completely deadly. So every move you have to know exactly what they do. So you have to play 15 times minimum to know which one's gonna be the next move. So right before he does his move, you do a protection. So like an elixir or whatever, just to cure. And that game was hard, and that was really, really. It made me love
Cry.
RPGs so much. And I think at the same year, Pokemon was released, and that's how that was my childhood in video games. Final Fantasies and Pokemon. Yeah. Something else that marked my youth was the Power Glove, but that was only iconic because you could not find that thing anywhere.
It also didn't work for a damn.
Yeah, but I think I don't know when it was released.
I haven't had
back
the
in-
pleasure to use the
See?
Power Glove.
Me too.
It was like crap. I saw it 3 times in my life. The one time I used it, exactly.
Turn.
It appeared in The Wizard, which that's where I learned its existence. That movie that was basically a Nintendo ad, and it worked like crap. Yeah. And
Where the kid that just knows how to get to the secret area, even though no one knew at the time because the game wasn't even released yet. Super Mario, Mario Brothers 3. Yeah, but yeah, sure.
And then
after that, I think recently I've been looking for that Power Glove to display it. It looks awesome. In the ads, it looks awesome. If you look at it in real life, it's a shitty piece of plastic that holds on like
Onto
a
a thin,
styrofoam.
like stupid, like
yeah,
weird,
it's like a
like a
Lycra.
vinyl.
Yeah.
Like a
a
Stop
Lycra
it, it's
glove
so
that is
awesome.
all cut, and the fingers are cut at the end. So now, since it's old, it's all like shredding away.
frayed and all that at the end. Yeah.
And the cover is nice because it's painted and everything, but the inside there's styrofoam to absorb the pressure points. It's not like an actual glove. It's like
It's a peripheral.
It's a piece of plastic that you hook to your arm.
Yeah, and growing up, the earliest games I can remember playing were on my aunt's Game Boy, and it was Tetris. I love Tetris. To this day, I love Tetris. I still have for my 3DS, and
I love the classic.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's still one of my favorite theme songs. Dun, dun. Super Mario Land or Super Mario World, whichever one it was for Game Boy, I don't recall.
Land.
It was Land? Yeah, it was.
oh yeah,
So those two can never beat either of them, but played the shit out of them.
But those are games that you could just pick up and start playing.
Exactly, they're pick up and play games even to this day.
Even if you have to repeat the same level over and over again, the next time you play, since a lot of times they didn't save,
Yeah,
it was fun.
yeah,
Isn't
exactly.
that the type of game?
Would not be a different level, but would just get harder and faster.
For Tetris, yeah, it would get harder and faster. But
Super
for
Surfer. Oh my god, impossible. Harder. I guess like
for Mario, it was different worlds, like as it always was.
yeah.
Other than that, one of my favorite series to this day, I have a top 5 favorite series for video games, but one of my favorite series, oddly enough, not for the gameplay, but for the story and characters, is Mortal Kombat.
When there was story.
Well, that's the thing. There's always been a story to Mortal Kombat. It's just been very convoluted until recently.
You mean those little
The little
loading
captions,
boxes
pretty much. Little
that
captions.
you have to wait for the intro to play and go on?
Well,
Yeah.
they have a real cinematic.
Exactly.
That was every single video games,
Yeah.
fighting video game.
Yeah,
right?
there was not. It was not really story related. It was just the fighting
That's
games
why the
and
movies
every
were crap.
and every
Mortal
character, except for the specific characters, and there was a backstory. But yeah, Mortal Kombat to this day is because I think it's because I've always been fascinated by martial arts, and it's a mix of martial arts and fantasy world, and there's all these different characters from different realms is what they're called. There's 6 realms, 8 realms. Correct me if I'm wrong, but but I've always enjoyed the story and then the fatalities were just so cool.
Now they've gotten kind of
and they've got
extreme and
so every game they've gotten worse, but in a good way.
Have you
Yeah.
played Nintendo's?
For Killer Instinct.
No,
No, it's really closer, but I feel like it was a.
It was a copy.
It was made by the same company.
Oh,
hmm
well.
Well, the first one, I don't know about the following, but the first one was Midway Games at the time.
I watched some of the fatalities for X today, and
Yeah. Oh, it's so
wow.
good.
I thought I saw bad in horror movies. No, they are.
Some of them are like really mess. Speaking of horror movies, I can't wait for Jason to come out as a character.
Yes, because he's a DLC, right?
Yeah.
Of course, he's a DLC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now everything is DLC.
Everything is DLC now.
Just like that meme that I've seen with the hamburger.
Yeah, I've
And
seen
then
that.
every other part that you put on the hamburger is the DLC. So before you used to get a nice hamburger with everything
With
on
every
it.
game, yeah, it's just an unfortunate set of circumstances that the video game industry has come into. But I digress. Mortal Kombat has always been one of my favorite series, along with a few others.
So game wise, Carmageddon.
Never played it.
You've never played
Amazing.
it?
No.
You've seen Death Race.
Yes.
It's based off of that. Well, it was based on the original, the
Death Race 2000
with Sylvester Stallone and
David
that.
Carradine.
Yeah.
Yep.
movie guy.
No, that's my top video game. I could play that one for hours, and it doesn't matter which one, well, except for number 3. The third one kind of sucked, but the first two, fantastic.
Mhm.
You could play those for hours. There was mods like crazy online that you could get. And then they've redone it recently, which you can get off of Steam. You could get an updated version that they're still working on, where it's the original Carmageddon.
It's an early access game.
Yeah,
Was it like a...
it's in game.
Twister Metal.
Oh, Twisted Metal. That was.
Twisted
was
Metal.
good.
Yes and no. Twisted Metal had a lot of weapons for your cars.
Yeah.
Carmageddon, you have power-ups, but your main principle is your car. Your car
Okay,
is the
yeah.
weapon. So to win the race, you either run over all the pedestrians.
And
Which
that's
is
another
fun.
thing. It is a race. Not
It's a
as
race.
Twister.
No,
Metal.
Twisted
Twisted Metal
just-
is like
here's the
yeah.
arena.
Rumble,
have
yeah.
fun. No, you could do the race. You could kill all the pedestrians, or you could destroy your opponents. And the best
So
ways.
violent.
Oh, it's so much fun. And they've spawned off other renditions for consoles, but they removed the pedestrians because
Yeah, of course.
they had to put them zombies. Like
Oh yeah, that makes it okay though.
yeah, exactly.
Like Blue Blood is not.
No blood.
Yeah.
No, it's blue.
Which is the reason that
What was the movie? Or is it a movie or something? They
Blue blood somewhere, and basically they're like, oh no, he's not like actually killing anybody because it's not real blood.
I'm not sure. Well, recently there was At World's End, which is the Simon Pegg and Nick Frost movie, Edgar Wright movie,
That was
Which-
awesome.
which they're robot alien types.
Yeah,
have
that
blue-
was
Weird.
It was awesome.
It's the third in the
The
Cornetto
end
trilogy.
was weird.
It was the third in their Cornetto trilogy, which is the ice cream that each movie is semi-based on. But as far I was going to mention Mortal Kombat. That's the reason that Reptile had green blood.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Oh, that's it. That's
and
it.
and the robot characters had black blood, which was oil. But that made it okay when there was no blood in the game for the human characters. Yeah. Carmageddon.
Carmageddon. I like games. I play all sorts of games. I play Grand Theft Auto now, which is so much fun. But my all-time favorite game is Carmageddon. So. So that just about does
That's what
it.
we talked about.
I think we've covered everything. So that's basically a look.
Introduction to the.
Yeah, basically
Of who we are.
Elder Nerds 101.
and what we do and why we're doing this. Basically, what we want to achieve with this is not only opinions but information on to what's been happening lately in the geek nerd fandom world. And I think we cover almost every base with just us four. So that should about cover it for episode 0. We hope you enjoyed us babbling on about our childhoods and basically how we ended up here and why we do what we do and why we enjoy what we do. So we are all the nerds. I'm Justin.
I'm Mark.
Nicholas.
I'm Jonathan.
Thanks for watching.
Huzzah!
Thanks.